If you are worried about longevity, there is not a single peptide that is going to be able to undo the damage of this skinny era we're in right now. Hey everyone, I'm Abby Sharp. Welcome back to Abby's Kitchen. It is officially May, which I guess means celebrating mothers by forcing them to host their in-laws for brunch. Non-stop Justin Timberlake memes. It's gonna be May. And something we should really be paying more attention to, National Osteoporosis Awareness Month. Now, to my Gen Zs and Alphas, and even my young millennials thinking a conversation about bone health does not apply to them, no, you are exactly who needs to hear this the most. Let me explain. In an age of skinny talk and widespread access to weight loss medications, young people's bodies are now expected to shrink at a rapid clip. Size 0 is the new size 6, and not ever feeling hunger is seen as a flex. Here on my YouTube and also on my podcast Bite Back, I have been ringing the alarm bells about the various psychological and physiological damages of rapid and extreme weight loss. But there is a terrifying long-term outcome that I don't think anyone is talking about yet. And that happens to be kind of ironic in this longevity-obsessed era we're in. And that is that we may now see an entire generation with early bone loss, impacting our longevity and independence far more than any peptide or supplement stack. So today I've partnered with AlgaeCal to dive into the alarming side effect of extreme weight loss protocols and what we can do to stop the bone loss before it's too late. A very quick reminder, friends, to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. And if you do love the kind of long form content, definitely check out my podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, for lots more of that. All right, friends, to start, I feel like we need a quick anatomy lesson on bones. Them bones, them bones, them dry bones, them noisy dry bones. That's weird. Now, despite what that song that we were all taught as kids may suggest, bones are not like dry, stagnant, solid blocks. They're actually living tissues constantly remodeling by cells called osteoblasts, which build bones, and osteoclasts, which break down bones. Normally, these cells work in harmony, but when osteoclast activity outpaces the osteoblasts, we start to lose precious bone. In early life, we are actively putting bone in the bank by building up our bone to reach peak bone mass around 25 to 30. But after that, the best outcome is basically just to maintain what we got. So we want to start adulthood with the most bone mass we possibly can, knowing that as we hit perimenopause and our bone protecting estrogen tanks, it's kind of just downhill from there. Now, this bone building to bone maintenance to bone loss trajectory has always just kind of been our physiological reality. But something is happening right now that is completely changing the game. We are in the midst of a starve to shrink epidemic. 800-calorie diets are all over your feed. Ozempic misuse and abuse is status quo, and nutrient deficiencies are on the rise. We have decades of data on women who have experienced rapid or extreme weight loss via disordered eating and eating disorders, suggesting a significantly increased risk of osteopenia, osteoporosis, and fractures even at very, very young ages. And this is particularly a problem during adolescence and young adulthood when you're supposed to be putting bone in the bank because you're very unlikely to ever be able to actually catch up. More recently, we've started to see some emerging research on GLP-1 users that echoes these concerns, with one 2024 clinical trial suggesting that Ozempic users had higher bone resorption markers and lower measured bone density compared to a placebo after 52 weeks. And it's not because the drug itself causes bone loss, at least not to our current knowledge, but there's a number of reasons why this skinny era may be putting our bones at such grave risk. Number one, non-discriminatory tissue loss. Our body isn't great at losing just one type of body tissue when we're in a calorie deficit. And especially when weight loss is rapid, as it often is with these protocols, it doesn't just dig into our fat, but it also breaks down our lean mass, including muscles, bone, and other critical organs. So we know, for example, that as much as 40% of the weight loss on GLP-1s like Ozempic is from lean mass, which includes our muscle and bone. Number 2 is the risk of legitimate nutrient deficiencies. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you cannot meet even your basic nutrient needs on a 1,000-calorie diet. Bones need a combination of nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, protein, magnesium, and more to support structure and mineralization. So whether you are under-consuming calories and nutrients because you're on a GLP-1 medication that severely suppresses your appetite, or you're following disordered advice from influencers online, your body is going to need to pull from its stores when inputs are low. And this is where supplementation can play a supportive role. It's not a shortcut or a workaround by any means. Like, if you are not consuming enough calories, no supplement is going to fix ongoing bone loss. So fueling your body properly is always step number 1. But if you are in that rebuilding phase, the right support can help. And that's actually why I looked into Cal Plus. What stood out to me is that it's the only calcium supplement backed by multiple human clinical trials shown to increase bone density. Because bone health isn't just about calcium. It requires a full network of nutrients working together. And this formula delivers 16 key vitamins and minerals in clinically relevant amounts, all sourced from whole foods. You guys know I am very picky, not just about the supplements that I take, but about the ones that I recommend to you. And this is one of the few formulations that genuinely impressed me. So if you're focusing on rebuilding alongside getting enough calories and enough protein, a high-quality supplement like Cal Plus may be a helpful addition. And right now, during Osteoporosis Awareness Month, my followers can get up to 33% off select Cal products until June 4th, so definitely check out the link in my description to learn more. Now, the third reason why rapid weight loss affects our bones is that it actually reduces osteoblast activity. When we are in a state of low energy availability, where the calories we're taking in are significantly lower than the calories we are putting out, our body goes into energy conservation mode and cuts off anything that it doesn't need to survive. So it's going to prioritize the brain, heart, and lungs, and it's going to downregulate non-essential processes like reproduction, growth, and bone building. In a state of low energy availability, our osteoblasts, aka the bone building cells, slow down to save energy, which then results in reduced bone density and osteoporosis over time. And this brings me to the fourth point, which is the hormonal cascade. Low energy availability also disrupts key hormones that regulate bone. So it reduces our estrogen, which one of its jobs is to prevent bone breakdown. It also reduces IGF-1 or growth factors, which help with bone formation, and it can increase our cortisol, which can further promote bone breakdown. It's really like a perfect hormonal storm for losing bone. And then finally, there is a reduction in mechanical load. Osteoblasts respond to stress, strain, and load. So smaller, lighter, frailer bodies produce less force on bones to stimulate the osteoblasts to build bone to support that stress. Over time, the bone just adapts to become less dense, which then increases the risk of osteopenia and osteoporosis. So as you can see, there is a complex interplay of bone affecting risk factors that arise from the extreme diet restriction and weight loss that we are seeing normalized and celebrated. And this is the scary part. Bone loss is silent. You will not feel it happening, and you won't know that you never reached your full peak bone mass potential because you were chronically under-eating until years later when you end up with a stress fracture in your 30s or osteopenia before you even hit menopause. So taken together, I really do worry that our current skinny at any cost obsession is creating a perfect storm for a generation that is less independent in older age than our our parents were. Now, all that said, this is in no way a suggestion that losing weight is inherently a bad thing. Like, every choice we make for our health will come down to a risk-benefit analysis. And there are countless reasons why weight loss, either via lifestyle alone or with the support of medication, would be the healthiest choice for you. However, if true longevity and sustainability is on your wish list, and it really should be, we need to be thinking about protecting our lean mass, like our muscle and bone, while in that weight loss phase. So here's what you need to know to minimize the risk while still meeting your goals. Number one, eat enough. I know it's very tempting to ride a low appetite and see the scale rapidly drop, but remember, we want to lose fat, not lean tissue. And that's going to require a slower, steadier pace. So always work with your doctor or dietitian to keep your weight loss pace below 2 pounds per week, which for a lot of folks might be around a 300 to 500 calorie deficit. And I've got a whole chapter in my book, The Hunger Crushing Combo Method, on maximizing nutrient intake and satiety while staying in a calorie deficit. So definitely, please do check that out if you're looking for some more guidance. Number two, pay attention to your cycle if you menstruate. While normal cycle lengths will differ, if you're losing weight and you're noticing that your cycles start to get longer, or you're skipping periods, or you're missing them altogether, that could be a sign of hormone dysregulation and underfueling. FYI, amenorrhea is defined as not getting your period by the age of 15 or missing periods for more than 3 months. So if that sounds like you, it is absolutely time to speak to a healthcare professional ASAP, because it could be a sign that your estrogen levels have tanked, which will then absolutely affect your bone. Number three, prioritize bone-specific nutrients. Now, the big ones, of course, are protein, calcium, and vitamin D, alongside others like magnesium, phosphorus, and vitamin K. So dairy, fatty fish with bones, fortified tofu, egg yolks, and legumes are all really great food sources. And again, you can consider a high-quality supplement like Algae Cal Plus if you need that extra support. And number four, work in weekly strength training. All forms of exercise have their benefits in the body, but for bones specifically, strength training, plyometrics, and heavy lifting is key to provide that mechanical load. Now, I'm not a personal trainer or a physiotherapist, but I highly encourage working with one to put together a routine that is specific to increasing bone mineral density. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm not against intentional weight loss or using a GLP-1 like Ozempic. But if your healthy lifestyle is costing you your hormones, energy, and your long-term independence, it is the farthest thing from true health. And that brings me to the end of today's video. If you found this helpful, please don't forget to check out my podcast, Bite Back, for more science-based conversations, and my best-selling book, The Hunger Crushing Combo Method, for all of your nutrition questions. Thank you again to Algae Cal for sponsoring this video. Definitely leave me a comment below with your experience with bone health, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.